Vedic astrology. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about Ketu Mahadasha. This is a period for 7 years. It comes immediately after Mercury Mahadasha, and then after Ketu you have the Venus Dasha. Ketu is actually the headless part of Rahu. So Rahu and Ketu are always on the same axis, because if Rahu is the head, the headless part is Ketu, always 180 degrees on the opposite side. So if you have Rahu in the 4th house, then Ketu will always be in the 10th house. So they never be together. If you understand what Ketu is, then you will understand what Ketu Mahadasha is likely to do to a person. Ketu basically is a spiritual planet. So this is the key to understanding Ketu Mahadasha. When does one turn to the spiritual side of life? If you examine this, then you can anticipate in which areas of your life you're going to get into trouble during the Mahadasha of Ketu. In the case of couples who already have troubled marriage in their horoscope, or if two incompatible people got together, then during a bad Ketu Dasha, you are most likely to separate. Sometimes it may be separation due to some other reason, not exactly a fight that is leading to divorce. Sometimes it may be that the husband has to go away to a far off place. And there are so many ways separation can happen, not necessarily only through a fight. But most probably, if there are indications for a troubled marriage, then Ketu Dasha is likely to cause divorce. Another way of looking at Ketu is the headless part. So that means that a person going through this Dasha will lose his head, meaning that he will suddenly become a little different from, when you say how he was so nice, such a nice person before Ketu began. Maybe he was holding a very high post, or he was perfectly healthy and so on. But when Ketu Dasha comes, all that changes. There is a sudden fall, and there is a sudden dip in the mental capabilities of a person. In rare cases, people who have been absolutely normal during the previous dashas suddenly start contemplating on suicide, some with good reasons and some without. The other things that you will notice in Ketu Dasha is it teaches you a lot of things about life, especially from the point of view of the illusory aspect of life, that things are transient and nothing is permanent. So all that you have been building up until Buddha Dasha, it looked all very fine, and you always thought that you are capable of doing everything, and then when suddenly Ketu Dasha comes, you find that it is not true. The things that you made with your own hands, just start disappearing from your hand. It just melts. It's like holding sugar in water, it's all there. It was so nice, but then when you start looking at it, there's nothing there. It just disappears. Very healthy people get into serious, diseases and ailments, and their lifestyle completely changes during Ketu Dasha. Many people who have been the CEOs have tumbled down, and they never actually got back their positions, even after the next Dasha came, except if the next Dasha, that is if Venus was auspiciously and very powerfully placed in their horoscope. We should understand that Ketu wants us to look into the spiritual world, and that's all it wants. Ketu Dasha will cause many events in life that will make us turn into the spiritual side of life. Many people lose their father or mother during this period, or sometimes a grandfather who has been a very important person in their life. So when they go to the funeral service, they realize that all this, whatever has happened, seems like it was not true. Did my grandfather really exist, or did my father really exist? Was he there? Where is he now? All these questions arise in one's mind during the Dasha of Ketu. So before Ketu gets you, you will have to get into a situation which matches what Ketu wants you to get into. So, if Ketu wants you to become renounced, you don't have to actually renounce the world. That would be too difficult for many people. All you have to do is start looking into the spiritual side of life. Read your scriptures every day of your life throughout KETU Dasha. That is the number one remedy. Try to go to the places of worship that are associated with your religion. Try to do all the fastings that are associated with your religion without fail, and be very strict about it. Chant the name of your God without fail every day of your life. So much, it is not for a 1 month of a year. Try to do it across the year, across 365 days of the entire year, and then that multiplied into 7 years. So if you can do this, then Ketu is really not going to be a troublesome dasha. You need to be particularly careful if Ketu happens to be in the second house, the 8th house, or the 12th. It is really bad if it is in the 8th or the 12th house, and to a large extent it is also bad if it is in the second house. All other places Ketu is not all that bad. So you have 9 sub-periods within Ketu, and depending upon the sub-periods you will find the breathing space. So it's not that the whole 7 years is going to be like this, but somewhere in between there would be a time in one of the bad sub-periods Ketu is likely to catch you. In most cases, Ketu always gets worse during the last 1/3 of its period, which is 2 years and 4 months, just before it ends. So subtract 2 years and 4 months from the date on which it ends, and that is the last 1/3 of KETU Dasha. For Hindus, I always recommend the worship of Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha represents the opposite of duality. That is why he has one single tusk. Reminds us that there is no two things about life. There is only one. There is only one God. In case you have your own favorite gods, and the god does whichever way you want, you can pray. But the main thing is that you reach out to a superior force that is running this universe. So I often tell people, at least act like a sannyasi during Ketu Dasha. Speak a lot about religion, your religion. Speak about the one God concept, and try to go to pilgrimages, go to holy places. If depending upon your religion, you can do that, and I'm sure you will be able to manage Ketu Dasha if you do all these things. You don't have to really think that Vedic astrology is preaching destiny. It is not. Vedic astrology tells you that these things are most likely to happen, and it is up to you. It is in your hands whether you can change it or not. If you know what is coming up ahead, I'm sure you can actually work towards changing it, because this karma was created by each one of us, and only we can actually change our karma. We should not depend on others. We should not think that other people will find the solution for you. You will have to reach out to God, and this is the best message or the best solution in Ketu Mahadasha. And you can also read the article Ketu Dasha, Oh My God, which I have written on wordpress.com, and you can see the various comments which proves the power of Ketu Dasha, what it has already done to people. People are there, giving their feedbacks. So you should also take it seriously. I have used the title Ketu Dasha, Oh My God, only to tell you that you have to remember your God.